Hello, good morning. How are you, baby? It's okay. Good morning, you guys. I'm sorry I was saying hello to the neighborhood cat. I got a quick download this morning. It's early in the morning, you guys. I woke up really early this morning and started my day early, and I had to go run an errand. And when I got the car, I heard the birds chirping, and I was just like, "Good morning, birds." It felt so good saying good morning. And when I say good morning, they chirp back. Say good morning to the universe. But what I want to talk about, this is going to be a real quick message, okay? To situations in your life that are really hard to talk about. A lot of us, we don't go to therapy. Maybe you don't have people that you could talk to, in your life that you could trust because you've been betrayed by literally almost everyone. Or you had to cut off people. You don't have any friends, and you don't have, you're just all by yourself, which is okay, or maybe if you do got people and you just don't trust. And I'm talking about the really trauma in your life that you really held on to, or like a situation in your life, or maybe even your job. For example, I got to think about this morning, even like, let's excuse me, cops, policemen, police officers, social workers, who have to go see traumatic things like maybe a MURDER, or stuff tragically about children, and you have to take that home. And I got to thinking, about my father, who, when I knew when I was growing up that when my father would cry, I knew it was something serious. And I've only seen my father, he's passed over, but I've only seen him twice, cry twice, while he was alive. And I remember seeing him cry. It got me thinking, it took like a part of me to see him cry. And I've talked about in the past before about the Matrix. A lot of people say when a man cries, that they're weak, which is bullshit. When I see a man cry, I'm seeing a strong man. I talk about crying is purging. How else are you going to release that traumatic or whatever had you upset, that you need to release that? But, and shout out to to the police officers, or maybe people in the justice system, but not only that, maybe to the nurses or the doctor who have to see a lot of traumatic experience that isn't necessarily, well, yeah, I guess that would be tied into them. And you have to go home. That's a lot of things too. And when you have trauma, that's an open door for a demon to get inside. It's like the Matrix wants you to, have all these traumas attached to you, and it goes on to the next life, And what I got, the spirit was telling me that, if you don't have nobody to talk to, and say if you don't even want to talk to God about it, which God already knows, okay, you have to release that, okay. And I'm even hearing spirit say, maybe something traumatic happened with you with somebody who's already crossed over. Call on that person, because that person is in its higher self. Or if you don't want to talk to God, call on and say, God, I'm not ready to tell, even though God knows. But there's a lot of people that's really afraid, because speaking for myself, there was a situation in my life where it was an elephant in the room. I've weighed in the past that I was afraid to talk to God, even though I knew God knew about it, that I was dealing with, and he knew, and I just wasn't ready to talk to him about it. Ask God to send in an angel to have a conversation with you. Like, literally, you're in a room, secluded, no noise, nothing, and you're having a conversation. I'm telling you, God's going to send someone. And just in you doing that, just alone, and you getting that out of your system and crying is a form of release. Because I'm telling you, these trauma contracts or trauma bonds or whatever, they go on to the next lifetime until you heal. And a form of releasing that and getting that out of your system and purging and crying and, confronting it and releasing that out to the universe. That is a form of purge. That is a form of letting go. Just start off of having a conversation, getting that out. And I even do that to myself. I'll sit in a room and I'll talk to myself, but I know I'm not by myself. There is a whole big spiritual world out there that we don't see. I worked on a lot of things with my father, that was wrong in our relationship. I worked on a lot of it when he went to the other side. I'll never forget, God even gave me a dream where he came and visited me, and we held each other for 10 minutes. And I'll never forget that. And it was probably like 4 months after he passed away. What an amazing moment that was that God gave me. And it was like he held me, and he was saying that he was sorry for all the things that he'd done, all the times that we didn't talk, giving the silent treatment. And also I felt like he was giving me a hug saying, I'm sorry what you were going through, because at that time I was really being spiritually attacked. I had nobody, everybody was treating me just, but it's okay though, and it was also like him trying to prepare me for what's to come, but that I was going to make it. And I'm telling you, even to the men, that you have to, and also women too, but I'm not trying to lead anybody out, but we have a lot of men out there today that carry a lot on their shoulders, and they don't cry or whatever because it's a form of weakness or whatever, but it's not. And if I've talked about this before, okay, and there's a reason why Spirit's pushing me out to speak about this again, that it's okay to cry, that you have to get that out. And I'm telling you, God, with you just releasing that, open that up to him, that is a big deal. It's also like, say whatever it is, it could be whatever it is, it could be taking accountability to something that you've done. That's a huge deal. It's a big deal. And say if you maybe had done something to somebody and you can't never speak to them again, maybe put a prayer out to that higher self, that person in the spiritual realm. But it's really got to come from the heart. You can't bullshit God. You can't. If God's not going to let you waste his time, on a bullshit, but this is just a form, like, you get therapy, that's great. You need to go to therapy, but in my situation, God has been my therapist. My angels, my spirit guides, they've been my therapist. I'm not saying don't go to therapy. Don't do that. But some of you, there's many reasons you don't want to go to. But there is a way to release that than keeping that all bottled inside. And I just really wanted to push that message out, because a form of crying. You hear somebody call somebody cry. I'm sorry, but crying is a purge. It's a form of purging out emotions. And it's okay for a tough guy to cry. It's okay for a tough girl to cry. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. You are healing. You're going to keep coming back. You're going to keep coming back until you heal whatever God needs you to heal. And you're just given an open door for a demon to come in. They want to create, the Matrix wants to create the devil wants to create many trauma things for it to happen, for a door to be open. I'm telling you. And I just want to get that quick message out to you guys. 818. I love you. And keep on ascending, you guys. 323, all journey along. Mwah. I'm out.